all that. We did not get a new release out in a little while, but we're getting ready to release a new version soon. What is in the testnet right now is 0918 that has the per validator vaults. What is going to be in the next release coming up is improvements in the block mergeability conflicts that we were seeing in 0918. Then there's an insufficient flow error that sometimes crashes the node. So we're hoping to have a fix for that. The biggest thing from a dApp developer perspective is that there is a much better web API that's already merged in the code base, so that'll be released. And then other bug fixes and performance improvements. So that's really what is going to be in the next release that's coming up. The rest of this presentation is really just speaking to a little bit of detail on these things as to how or what those are being resolved. So for the mergeability, block mergeability issues or conflicts, the main focus has been really looking at the POS.row contract, which is the contract that's used in the system, to modularize it and decouple it, because when it was originally written, which was a while ago, it was not written with mergeability or conflicts in view. So that was a significant piece of the work there. But also in doing that, we had this piece of code called tree hash map, and I'll speak to that a little bit here because that has multiple uses. I speak to here two different instances where it's used. One is in registry.row, and the other one we also use it now to resolve mergeability conflicts in POS.row. So treehashmap.row was a piece of code that Mike Stay had written a while ago, and that was intended to be used in registry.row. What's going on until a few days ago in the registry.row is that the registry was storing all the data in a single Rolang map. And because of that, anytime there are any changes to any piece of the data at all, the whole thing needs to be read and written back. So that was we don't know right now yet how much of a performance improvement we would get, but I think it should be better, substantially better with the way now we're using tree hash map. What tree hash map does is instead of keeping that whole state as one single map, it kind of breaks it down into small pieces, branches in a tree. So anytime there are changes, you don't need to read or write back the whole state in the registry. You just go to that piece or that branch of the tree where things need to be changed, and then so the impact is minimized. So the other issue with the whole registry being a single map is that was also a source of conflicts in the state. So having this as a tree hash map now reduces those conflicts. Specifically, one of the areas where we're using tree hash map inside POS.row is to store the pending rewards. And then we read all the rewards back at specific points in time, whenever, either when a validator needs to be paid or when epoch changes or time points like that. So because of that, that was helpful in reducing the mergeability conflicts also. So it's basically a summary is that tree hash map to the rescue, both in the registry and the POS contract. So that's a piece. That's a piece of that in resolving the mergeability conflicts. And then there's also Marcin is working on some improvements to the tuple space merging in the R space code. It's not published yet, but we're expecting it should be published in the next day or so. So it's likely to be in the 0919 release, which is the next release. Depending on how much effort it takes to really review and merge, we may go ahead and release the 0919 without all the improvements. We're not going to wait because it's been a while, and I know that some of the community members have been waiting for the web API. And I was asked repeatedly by a couple of people. So we may take the view that whatever is in reviewed and ready to be merged, we're just going to release 0919. And then the other pieces, if they are either late in coming or taking a while to review or something like that, we will just do them in the 0920 release. So that's kind of what my plan is at the moment. Then in terms of this securing the access to private protocol-private POS methods, I think it's close. It's been reviewed. It's the review comments are being addressed in terms of changes or fixes to the code. So that should be in soon. I'm certainly hoping that the insufficient flow fix at least will be able to include in the 0919. But there is a workaround to it for now, which is that if you give a large enough flow, you will not run into this error. So again, if it takes too long to get it, since it's not published right now, my desire is to have it be in 0919, but if not, 0920. So that's kind of what we're shooting for on that. There are a couple of improvements to persisting the state in the Casper and block storage space. Both of those are ready to be merged. I believe one of them actually already has been merged, and the other one is ready to be merged. So that should be going into 0919. And I already spoke to the HTTP or web interface that's already merged. And this last one for support for Ethereum personal signature format, that's also close to being merged, if not already merged since I last checked. So that should be in 0919. So that's my technical update. Unless, are there any questions about any of this?
Thank you,
Sounds
Ralph.
like everyone's making progress. It's great.
Yeah, no, that was really, really good to see the tree hash map solution materialize in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, because they were looking at code in that directory and then realized that tree hash map was available but not being used.
Right.
So, so then we went ahead and used that in both the registry and the POS contract. So.
Yeah, no, it's really nice to have this. Any word about the out of flow?
Nothing yet. I did ping Marcin one more time to say, if you have only one thing to get it out, please get that one out.
Okay.
He's got the other stuff on our space also, the tuple space merging, but I want him to at least get this one in. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So I mean, just so people know, what we talked about at the board meeting yesterday is that where the tree hash map, the out of flow error, and a couple of other minor things, and then we're going to call it. That's mainnet. So in a very short period of time, we will be announcing a block height. I mean, a very, very short period of time, we will be announcing a block height. After which we get we will not pay any attention to transactions in the in the Ethereum transactions against the rock in terms of affecting balances related to the Genesis block. So you can be expecting to know that block height in the very, very short period of time. I'm mentioning it here now because people need to start spreading the word. We're stable enough now that we're going to go to mainnet, so get the word out. It's now or never. Ship or get off the pot, I think is the the phrase. So that's hopefully that's good news for everyone. Any questions on that?
Yeah, is it a matter of days or weeks or months?
Oh, well under a month. Very, very short period of time. I don't like to speculate, but here's what our estimates are, assuming that the out of flow exception isn't held hostage. We should have that all of the changes that we're going to accept within the next 5 days. And so give it a couple of days for testing. So let's say 10 days for all the PRs, and then we'll probably do another 10 days. From that point, pick a block height that's about 10 days out. So we're looking at about 20 days, possibly less. Any questions on this? Good to see you, HJ. It's been a while.
Yeah, thanks.
How are you doing?
Well, my situation is stable.
Good.
And I'm looking with good hopes for the future, and especially in 2020. Yeah.
Very good. As are we all, I think. As are we all. So thank you, Rao. That was really a good summary. So on to other matters. The board met yesterday. The first item of business was the discussion of the mainnet launch. So that's the cat is out of the bag. We're going to mainnet in a very short period of time, approximately 20 days. Let's see. There are a number of things that are I can only speak of in the closed door session, but I'll speak to that on Friday. Let's see, what can we talk about that's not closed door from the board meeting? Ian, do you remember anything?
No, we didn't have any resolutions.
Apart from approving the minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, I think that's all we can talk about that isn't closed door session. I can say that we had part of the reason I was late for this call is we have very significant real interest from several parties. And but I can't disclose those parties or the details of those conversations. But we do have interest from financial institutions, and both in China and in the U.S. So lots and lots of activity on that front, which I will speak to on Friday. Trying to think, is there anything else we can talk about that isn't a closed door session? Any questions? Oh, I know there is one thing I wanted to talk about. but any questions from the community before I mention one other thing? Okay, so I think that's it in terms of the basic community updates. I wanted to suggest something to kind of re-spark the sense of decentralization, sort of doing things together even though we are decentralized. And the thought that came to me was RChain dinners. That everyone who has feels the impulse or for which this resonates, host an RChain dinner the third Thursday of each month, and then bring to the community hangout the following week sort of the highlights of those dinners. So I'm going to start hosting local dinners, RChain dinners, and I got this idea from what I saw going on with the Nova group in China. So there's this group of investors that have sort of loosely affiliated under the rubric Nova, and they have these dinners. And they hear presentations from various projects, and they toast each other, they compare notes, that sort of thing. And I thought it might be useful to do, and they do these in many cities around China, different provinces and different cities. And I think it's a really interesting social model, and I thought we might experiment with this idea. To host dinners and sort of begin to do the grassroots spreading of the word, the RChain word, in this way. It would be entirely sort of individual efforts, but I think it might. But the opportunity to report on the topics of conversation and other highlights from the dinners might be a way to lift the experience and unify the experience. So any thoughts on this proposal?
I love it, Greg. I think that's great. I'm excited to hear talk about grassroots.
Yeah, I think it's certainly something we could try in the Tampa Bay area.
Awesome. If it begins to take off, we can think about what sort of co-op resources can be available to support these things. But initially, let's just see who steps up to the plate, who actually can host a dinner and bring people in and sort of have these grassroots conversations about things that RChain is concerned about and things that RChain is doing to solve those things. Awesome. Well, unless there's any other discussion, I think we can yield back the time to the community. Going once, twice. All right. Well, have a happy new year. Welcome to 2020. See you next week.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks. Bye.